if I consume a ton of fondue in Geneva, and so 56% of me by weight is Swiss, does that mean that I'm Swiss and I now qualify for Swiss citizenship? I'm Swiss made per their legislature. I'm Swiss made at this point.
I think that's an interesting by weight. Yep. I mean, would it have to be Swiss cheese specifically you ate? Would you have to be in the country, eat the cheese, leave the country, and then re-immigrate?
It has to come from a Swiss cow, that's right.
Do we need Jean-Claude involved in this? Does he still make cheese?
Of course.
Once you start making cheese, you never stop.
You can't get out of the game.
Ariel, I need some guidance now because.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this week's Clappage. Well, this week's Clappage. I really want to break an embargo on this week's Clappage.
I love how we still have embargoes, and it's like a week from the end of the year.
So we're going to need to give a Clappage this week to a brand. I think we can probably name the brand, but we can't name why they're so deserving of their Clappage until the new year, when we will give them a Clappage again, because they seem to have managed to design a watch for fans of a thing. And then use the thing that people are fans of in a deeply inappropriate way to add to the thing. Now,
it made sense to me.
It made sense to you. Well, it
totally made sense to me.
As a personal fan of the thing, it makes zero sense to me. And when I have told several people about, would you buy this watch celebrating this thing if it happened to be partially made of the thing that it's celebrating? And they all went,
okay, let me ask you a question.
It's slightly ironic that this is coming from the Panerai owner, who the Paneristi have used things to make straps and celebrate
rubber
the thing.
Strap.
No, but are there other things you like, Rick, that you don't want made into parts of watches?
Oh, there's a question. Things I don't, bits of my body. I don't want any part of my body.
You want to celebrate your body in a watch? Okay, that's a new special weird thing.
No, I don't want to celebrate it in a watch. I don't want any bit of it made. Well, you know how Morris Grossman have the hair from what's her name? What's the chief executive owner of Morris Grossman called? It'll come back to me in a minute. Okay, I was reading about
way too early for questions like this, Rick.
Christina Hutter. She has part of.
So other than body parts, what don't you want?
I don't know. Would you want? Would I want?
Like you wouldn't mind tractor parts in a tractor watch. You wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, but nobody died in the making of it.
Yeah, but like animal parts are basically like raw materials.
Nobody was literally rendered in the making.
You think an animal was killed just for that watch? You think they like murdered it? Be like, oh, we need a strap. Let's just kill an extra animal. I doubt that.
I don't know. It's the watch industry we're talking about.
If you get to choose the animal that's then made into a strap, okay, I can see that being controversial.
Anyway, so we can't tell you who it is. You'll need to wait till the new year. But it's deserving of the Clappage. So this week's Clappage goes to a brand we can't name, for a watch we can't tell you about,
for mystery meat.
We can't say made of mystery meat. I reckon there's a decent chance that the press release is subtly changed for the time it actually comes about, because I can't imagine that the only person that looked at this press release and went, "You are joking." You've made a watch celebrating.
I can almost guarantee there will be no change. It's going to be rolled out exactly as we've seen it.
I think the target audience wants it just the way it is.
Just the way it is. As much pain and suffering as possible in the animal kingdom. Maybe I should send the press release to PETA and say, here's one for you for the new year. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. You think people
get excited about blood diamonds? You realize that, right? That doesn't turn anybody off. No one's like, oh, no, I don't want to buy. They're like, oh, tell me more.
Okay, so a quick round of applause for an unknown brand, for an unknown watch we can't tell you about.
Thank you for making the absolute correct choice, Brand.
Okay, so Save is correct that I had no idea what you were talking about. Like, absolutely not.
And you won't for the rest of the conversation.
Okay, so on the basis that David doesn't know what we're talking about, a bit like Chinese whispers, because it wouldn't be breaking the embargo now, David doesn't have the press release. If David was able to guess what we're talking about, we give him no hints, would that be breaking the embargo? If David now was ready to go, well, you haven't said anything, but I think
the embargo is safe because
you're going to lose this argument.
Very cryptic, and because nobody cares. So that's the perfect storm there to keep a secret.
Right. Well, in other news, Ariel has added to his watch collection by collecting a large clock from what I believe is Isotope.
Yes.
Right? Very nice. Very
I figured people watching needed to see what time it was backwards, I guess. They're seeing it. I'm not sure.
Also, the edit will just be delightful as it jumps around from minute to minute as Hayden cuts out vast swathes. Mind you, it's not got a second hand, so hopefully
it does.
Does it?
Does it have a wee little grey thing in the middle?
I can't see it. Is it a wee tiny one? Smaller than the hair off of Christine Hooter's head.
Yes.
Is the second hand.
I have that wristwatch. So this is the first time I've had... Actually, no, not the first time. The third time I've had a wristwatch and a clock of that wristwatch.
Okay.
This is definitely the weirdest of all. But this is nice. Looks good as a clock.
It's good. It's good.
I like clocks.
What were the other two clocks? And why are they not on your wall behind you with like New York, London, Berlin written beneath them?
I'll tell you what one of them was. One of them was a Casio G-Shock clock that was like of the 5600 case or something like that.
Oh, right. Okay.
So
cool.
that was stuff That's like cool. that. I'm not saying like one of the Rolex clocks or anything.
Right. Okay. Are any of those Rolex clocks official? I mean, other than the ones at Formula that used to be at Formula One, there's probably a warehouse full of them.
The airport one.
Has anyone ever?
There's a bunch.
Got an official one for use in their own home or office?
Why has no one stolen them from airports? Is what I want to know.
I mean, they're pretty high up normally.
I've seen some.
Yeah, you bring a ladder. Well, that's how you gain access to any place.
On the Sunset Strip, there's a giant FP Journe clock sitting in the little Meridian Parkway thing. And I keep waiting because, people are like cutting the heads off of statues for the scrap metal. I keep waiting to be driving down Sunset one day and someone has just taken a hacksaw and taken the world's largest FP Journe. And I don't know, you'll probably see it on Chrono 24 or something.
No, they're going to flavor it.
If it was in Glasgow, there'd be a traffic cone put on top of it because that's what we do with statues. How do you do that?
Maybe you can mount the clock on the traffic cone.
No, you just put the Glaswegians would find a way of putting a traffic cone.
Like a hat? What is this supposed to mean?
I mean, I've warned you. This is what's going to happen to your country next year when the Scottish people if you let Scottish people in for the World Cup, all of your national monuments will have traffic cones on their head.
Do they bring their own traffic cones, or they repurpose ones they find?
I mean, we're stingy, so we probably repurpose.
Stingy. Okay.
I will find you an image of the traffic cone. And actually, in a previous existence, we made a Swatch watch that had this picture on it. There is a selection of Wellington with traffic cones. That's probably the most famous version of it. It tends to be a student gig. So that's Wellington with a traffic cone.
And this is called local culture.
This is local. This is outside the Museum of Modern Art in the centre of Glasgow.
Am I offending anyone if I think it's not funny?
No one that has a gun license.
I just don't think it's in great taste. I understand the joke. I just don't find the joke funny.
It's guerrilla marketing from VLC Media Player. That's all it is.
Occasionally, the horse also has one. But I guarantee you that there will be traffic cones mounted onto public statues.
It's funny once, but for this to catch on, it's not that funny.
Our traffic cones are solid color orange, so they're not going to be as interesting. They're going to look like weird witches' hats.
Oh, well, they'll find. I'm sure they'll find. There's a Harry Potter one, a Ukrainian support one. There's a pigeon with a hat. It's not watches.
A wizard hat would be funny. I'd like to see a legitimate wizard hat.
Here's the wizard hat. Right, okay. Shall we talk about some watches?
Seems like a great way to keep the rain off.
Let's talk about Ariel's interview with Jay Leno. Wow.
Jay Leno, yes. Tell us about Jay Leno and why he's not been on this show yet. Is he avoiding us?
It's a really big question. You want him to be on this show?
I think that would be fun.
You think he's available at like midnight on Mondays?
I think of anyone. Wait a minute, the guy made a career out of appearing on midnight on Mondays. What time was the
I agree, but he's also retired from that career.
Right, okay. But, I'm sure he's still...
It's quite presumptuous. Like, hey, jump on your computer. We could ask.
You could ask. I mean, I will ask him. I'm prepared to record slightly earlier if it suits him. If his old bones can't hack a midnight recording anymore.
Let's wait for something to come out which is very opinion-worthy, and then I'll invite him to come on and talk about it.
Excellent. That sounds like a great idea. So tell us a little bit about this recording, because it's obviously going to prove really popular.
So a few weeks ago, we were invited to his garage, which is, if I can say the best garage. I know there are other good garages out there, but it is the best garage. And we recorded an episode of Superlative right there. Mr. Leno has become quite the enthusiastic watch lover and collector, a true devotee of learning about it and trying to understand watches, and follows aBlogtoWatch, which is really nice and flattering. He has some interesting watches, and we didn't just talk about what he bought. I think that that's like a lot of what other collector interviews are, and I don't know that that really is important. It's kind of, as I was joking with Ripley, like looking in a man's underwear drawer. I think what's more interesting what's more interesting is what he values in watches, what he perceives about the industry. I can bring up questions and he'll answer the way he wants to answer. Yeah. So I think a lot of it was me just trying to think about questions that he hadn't been asked before, or that he might give an interesting answer to. And I think enough of it was definitely good material. He's an absolute professional. I mean, this is, he's one of the top people in the world for doing, off the cuff interviews. Like that's literally what he made him famous. And, it's just a privilege being able to chat about a shared hobby with him. I spent time with him at one of the car shows, so get to know him a little bit. So we did a Superlative episode, and hopefully there'll be more in the future, because honestly, he's a really interesting person to talk to, and a very generous person. And thank you, Mr. Leno, for coming on.
Yeah, cool. I've watched a couple of the car garagey type things, but it's not really my particular scene. As he's getting older, is he getting less into cars and more into watches? Because,
I wouldn't say that.
No, I'm just curious as to which way is he a completist? Is he like, I've got all the cars I want to collect, therefore watches is another thing? I was having a conversation last night with someone who's just about to finish their collection of Rolexes. They've kind of got one of everything they want. So they're like, well, what's next? So is his watch obsession coming as a result of him completing his car obsession, or is it a completely different sort of motivation?
It's a different hobby. I think he likes it in the same way as cars in a lot of ways. Of course, they're different. I think he approaches it mostly from the angle of curiosity. Okay. I don't think he's like, I want all the world's most important watches. Right. He seems to be quite fascinated by alternative mechanisms. Okay. So different ways of displaying the time, different ways of having a regulation system, different ways of storing power, displaying power. He likes the oddities, if you will. You see that in a lot of the cars. He likes superlatives, but he's never like, this is the first or this is the best. He's like, look at this interesting way of doing this. The things he's been interested in are like resonance. He's been interested in, various types of like astronomical complications, Fusee-and-chain transmissions, all these interesting ways that different brands do in their own slightly fashion, their own flavor. But these are all techniques to overcome some mechanical problem. So he, again, really is interested in watches from the fact that they are a machine designed to fulfill some purpose.
So does he therefore own a Panerai equation of time? Because he sounds like the guy that must.
I don't know if he has an equation of time.
He likes interesting things. Like, he's not a completist collector. Like, yes, he has like an astonishing collection of cars and watches, but it's not really about like buying every variation of this or completing this, hypothetical set that you want. He kind of seems to buy what he likes. And, the vehicles range from, steam powered cars to like modern electric vehicles and everything in between. There's tons of motorcycles. And then with the watches, it's not like, you know, Rolex guy, AP guy, typical rich dude stuff. It's a lot of interesting stuff. He seems to buy whatever he likes, and it comes from a place of general enthusiasm rather than like wealth flexing or that kind of completist attitude of you're not a real collector till you own blank type of thing. You know, it's a lot of atypical choices, both in the cars and the watches, but you know, that's kind of what makes it interesting. It's not the one you see in everyone else's collection.
So has he got something else that he also collects? It doesn't feel like someone who collects cars and watches then doesn't also have a collection of...
It's all kinds of stuff. He's got artwork. He's got random machines. He showed me water heaters.
Oh, does he have tractors? Does he collect tractors?
Yeah, he's got tractors.
Excellent. Right, get him on the show. We'll talk tractors.
He's definitely got tractors. He showed us a few tractors.
So, sorted. Right, okay. My common thread to me and Jay Leno, an appreciation of tractors. We can do that.
I don't know how often he gets to talk about that. He might be delighted.
Yeah, it will be a niche within a niche within a niche for sure.
I could say, do you want to come on and talk about tractors with a real tractor guy?
Tractors and watches. Well,
he might not respond. If not, don't feel bad.
Also farm equipment, like
he has a tank.
It's
like 2 tanks, like military-looking amphibious vehicle thing.
Well, the other guy who I was interviewed a long time ago about watches, it was at a Zenith event, a DJ who was called Carl Cox, and it turns out that Carl Cox's hobby away from all is he grows a very specialist grass for feeding racehorses on a little farm that he owns. So we geeked out about that, and the Zenith PR rep was kind of, this is not why we brought you here. We didn't bring you here to talk about advanced grass growing.
You think we could get some racing grass?
Racing grass. Does that mean something else where you are? It sounds like it might.
Let's find out.
I'm halfway through watching that Charlie Sheen documentary. I don't know if you've watched it.
Oh, it's a good one.
He seems quite familiar with racing grass as well as many other substances.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's some cool few watches. Yeah, there's some watches. He has a thing with Nicolas Cage where he meets Nicolas Cage at the back door of a nightclub. I brought that up
before in the show, you remember?
Yeah.
And then you were making fun of me about it.
I was like, I've heard this story before.
Yes, I told you.
Nicolas Cage chatting up somebody saying, do you like my watch? But what do you think about my watch? Anyway, right, so... was there a driving conclusion behind your chat with Jay Leno, or was it just a nice ramble through watches and collecting, or is there some point to be drawn out of it from a guy who, if you like, can collect anything he likes in any way he likes, but he's chosen to do it in the manner that he has?
I think it's interesting to hear about someone getting into watches today versus like 20 or 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting to hear his perceptions on the brands and some marketing and some of the ways that he's, experienced it through retail or dealing with brands.
I mean, he must get some serious... Julia Roberts, that film, some serious sucking up. There must be some brands try on with Mr. Leno in terms of...
He's made a couple of watches already that he's sold as merchandise for his garage. He's worked with some company...
Oh, right, okay.
Maybe Sheffield, somebody I've never really heard of. They're not expensive. They're like a few $100, like $300 or $400, maybe less. Mechanical ones, and they, he just sells them as inexpensive things. I think there's a potential of him maybe getting more serious. Where it becomes very impractical to make your own car, it becomes far more doable if you want to make your own watch.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, easier to leave a stamp on the actual industry you're collecting in the watch industry than the car industry.
I'm not saying he's going to start a brand, but, brands are going to be throwing a bunch of offers at him about let's do this, let's do that. It'll be interesting to see what he does. He's definitely like an active collector right now.
Okay, cool.
We don't know. We don't know if he's going to stop doing that a few years from now. We don't know how much longer he's going to stay interested. Not everyone stays like super interested all the time. But the reality is that he is definitely like not just surface level interested. He's interested in a lot of the right reasons. And he's just a really nice, approachable guy. So it's so great that we have this amazing communicator, obviously popular collector. I think that's one of the things that for me makes him one of my heroes, is that he took the idea of turning your hobby into a job and making it something that was ever even something you thought about. I'm not saying he was the first one, but for sort of my generation, he was just someone who's like, oh yeah, and Jay Leno happens to like cars as a hobby. All of a sudden, after his time being a talk show host, he still does comedy stuff, so he still does stand-up, but like the car thing became his world, and he makes money that way. He's turned his hobby into a profession, which is the dream of so many, including of in the watch space. So he's this wonderful role model because he's done it. I'm not saying it's easy. And there's plenty of people in the car space who would love to go anywhere near being able to make money that Jay makes. And I think it's evidenced by all the cars he's getting all the time. Those aren't cheap. Maintaining them, that's a operation that requires a lot of churn, a lot of money, and a lot of things to happen. I'm not saying he's a for-profit guy. He's probably spending a lot of what he makes, but that whole thing takes a lot to do. So he has to maintain. He's got to work to keep all that alive. So a huge amount of maintenance, buying new cars, logistics. It's you know how it is. You own one car. I remember in his garage, he has like cords going to all the cars to keep them charged, because it's so often the batteries die in these things. It's just like chances are the batteries are gonna be dead. He has to like independently like have electricity to every one of these cars, and there's just countless different things that has to go on there. So it's an amazing operation. I feel really lucky to have been part of it and to share a world, see a little bit of his world, bring him into our world a little bit as well. I don't think it'll be our last conversation, but yeah, we're really proud of this episode.
Good. Right, we'll go and check that out on Superlative, as well as the back catalogue of interviews that Ariel's done with many, many, many other quite interesting people. Let's have a look at it's Christmas time. Let's have a look at how the world of retail is doing. We've all got our own experiences of what is going on the aBlogtoWatch weekly WhatsApp group, which you're welcome to join if you can persuade one of us to let you in. There was some discussion about just how many brands seem to be doing quite drastic sales pre-Christmas, whereas normally they wait till after Christmas. And Watch Pro this week is reporting UK sales drop in Breitling of 24%. Now, to give some context, I think Breitling is probably considered to be one of the most ubiquitous brands in the UK. It's one I remember pre-getting into watches. Rolex, Breitling and Tag would be the three brands that I could name. So to see Breitling struggling in the UK as such a foundational watch brand in many a high street should be disturbing to many. So let's get a feeling for what's happening around the world in your zone. David, how does it feel in your part of the world in the retail space for watch brands?
Well, whatever little I heard was not good. I can tell you that much. It's not looking great. For I guess the same reasons as anywhere else. Prices are very high. People are more careful with their money these days than they were, several years ago. The COVID bubble has burst. Not everyone is looking to make a purchase. I still laugh when I think back of all the people who came up to me during COVID and all those years, and they said, this is the watch I want. This is the watch of my dreams. I would sell my house before I sell this watch, and all this nonsense I was listening to for years as people were trying to get a Daytona or a Nautilus or something like that. And they were trying to convince me to help them to get something like that, which is odd because I never said I would. And suddenly all these people are gone, They're not anywhere to buy their freaking dream watch now that it's available at a lesser price. They all just wanted to buy something, flaunt it or just show it off and then sell it for a profit. That was their master plan. And yet they would, and I wouldn't say risk their reputation. I don't care about that at all, what their reputation is. They were nobodies to me, but it was still hilarious for me to read all these messages and hear these people say these things to me. What how many things they were going to do just to get this watch. And now suddenly the boutiques, it's not that they are empty, but this ship has sailed.
Yeah, Ripley, are there ships plowing out of the harbour?
Yeah, I mean, like as David mentioned, a lot of people got into it just for the hype or just because they had disposable income and they couldn't go anywhere, travel, or spend their money on other stuff. Those people are gone. A lot of models that were historically, during COVID, very impossible to get. They may not be easy, but they're, it's nothing like what it was. And I think the pre-owned prices reflect that. But I think Breitling's also a unique case study. I think across the board, probably for the luxury brand, sales are down. This isn't really a celebratory time. People aren't feeling flush with money. But Breitling's also drastically increased their price, in the last handful of years as they've completely pretty much moved over to in-house movements. It wasn't like Rolex money years ago. You could get like a 7750 based Breitling. It was more expensive than a tag, but we're talking like less than Omega. It was something that people could buy and was more attainable. Right now, Breitling, it's very expensive. Like Navitimers are like $8-9 grand. The in-house stuff for the three-handers has seen a price jump as well. It's no longer a Sellita base. So it's now a different price as well, where I don't think 24% is going to be applied to most brands. I think Breitling's being hit harder than most because, one, the watches are quite a bit more expensive, and two, they've also done a lot to change up a bit with their design and concept in the last handful of years. And some of the older buyers who wanted that masculine, drenched Avenger type of thing, the new Avenger is very different, and that kind of same statement applies to the rest of the catalog. So I think Breitling is probably feeling it worse than most, but only some of that's due to just the economic climate across the board.
Ariel, what's your feelings about what's happening in watch retail at the moment? Are we at the bottom of the market? Is it just, a mess out there with a mix of, dedicated boutiques effectively run by the brands, mono boutiques run by retailers for the brands, and then multi-brand boutiques who actually maybe have some experience in, genuinely selling watches and raising a client base?
It's a very interesting concept, and there's just too much data that I'm not privy to, that I may never be privy to explain everything or to know the scope of it. But I can speak about a very specific thing that I think is leading to a lot of this. When you look at these numbers, it says like minus, 24%. It sounds like a huge decrease. And it sounds like the market is behaving in this like pathetically bad way. I think the problem is that you don't understand a lot of what's happened in the meantime, what's going on, some of the context where these numbers come from. And this has to do with the fact that over the last couple of years, brands, especially Breitling and others, have put huge investments into retail. They built so many stores. They pumped so much inventory all over the world. They've had all these third-party retailers make independent Breitling boutiques that the third party pays for, that has the Breitling name on it, and it's full of Breitling product. So I'm not really sure what they're comparing it to. Is it compared to their expectations? Breitling ostensibly makes money when these watch stores are full of product. It's then up to these independent parties, these local retailers and the staff they put in these mono-brand boutiques to then sell the watches, which we knew was going to be hard. Breitling just kind of wiped their hands. Like, okay, we got our store. They paid us wholesale for the product. Great, you do your thing. But now those actually have to sell. They're expensive. Look at the environment around there. Because it's a mono-brand boutique, they probably have all these restrictions on discounting, blah, 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 blah. So does this number mean that people aren't buying a lot of watches disproportionate to the downturn in the economy? No. I think people always buy an impressive number of watches despite the economy. But is this Breitling's entire retail plan blowing up in their face because it was short-sighted and premature and kind of maybe had too high expectations to begin with? It's probably a lot more like that. So we've seen a lot of brands, not just Breitling, pump enormous amounts of inventory into stores without anybody buying it yet, that they're not selling like as much as they want. I mean, again, is anybody here surprised? And does that actually mean that the market's doing bad? I don't think so.
I mean, maybe it is the start of the death knell of the mono-brand boutique for brands like Breitling. There's a mono-brand
boutique. I mean, it was a dumb idea to begin with. I've been saying that for 20 years now almost.
Stupid move for anyone except
5% of the stores make sense. 5% of them.
There's a very nice Breitling dedicated boutique in Glasgow on the main street where all the jewelry and watches are sold. And, there's maybe, it feels like it's dead most of the time when you walk past it. Whereas you walk past a monobrand boutique and there's always people in monobrand boutiques because they also sell jewelry. And so they managed to cover their overhead just by selling, £100 this, that, and this trinkets and necklaces and ear piercings and earrings. And then when they sell a watch, then they make a super profit from it. And that, boosts the rest of the business. But monobrand boutique just makes no sense to me. Never has, never will.
I want to say something important.
You're Rolex or unless you own the property. If you happen to own the building, then fair enough. Put what you like in it. You can rent the rest of the space out to somebody else. But the overhead these guys are taking on and the responsibilities for repairs they're taking on in their leases that'll expire 10, 15, 20 years from now. It's astronomical, in my opinion. If you've opened all of these boutiques in one shot, they're all going to be in similar lengths of lease. They're all going to expire at the same time, and you're going to have a big bill in a few years' time if you're trying to get out of these boutiques. Sorry, Ariel, go on.
No, you're absolutely right. And I want to say that when you ask the question, who wanted these brand boutiques? It's not the consumer. Mm-hmm. The consumer consistently prefers shopping in what we call a multi-brand environment.
Yeah.
Consumers want to browse. They want to have a collective environment. That's what they prefer. It was the brands that said, no, we love the idea of our stuff being sold in a monobrand boutique. Mm-hmm. We wanted to increase our desirability and therefore the amount of money we can charge per an item. But these are all attempts to make these things, honestly, less competitive. They're like, maybe we can get away with it. But it's just packaging. It's all packaging. It's like doing a bigger box or fancier wood. Doesn't make the watch any more valuable.
Mm-hmm. And it's so much more intimidating going into a monobrand boutique than going into a multi-brand boutique that also sells jewelry that you can go into, if you like, with whoever you're out with, your girlfriend, your wife, your family, and we're just going to go in for a look. Going into a place that's virtually empty with two salesmen staring at you as they try. When you're not in to buy it there and then, you want to have a browse. It's so difficult to effectively browse and learn in a monobrand boutique. David Ripley, your experiences?
I think most people prefer a multi-brand boutique. There's just more to look at. There's a greater diversity of stuff, and there's naturally built in like the 3 kind of price tiers to help you narrow it down. You see the expensive stuff, you see the cheap stuff, you see everything in the middle, and you see kind of what makes the most sense. And then you feel good about your purchase because you saw stuff from a bunch of different brands. This is the one you like the best, or this is the one that made the most sense for the money you're spending, and you're happy with it. With a mono brand boutique, it's just the brand's watches, so you're stuck to a single kind of general price tier as well as a general design language, and it's a little bit less fun. I mean, there's the deep collectors who want to feel like are patrons of the brand and are buying tons and tons of watches from the same brand every year. Great, that's exactly who the mono brand boutique caters to. But I think most people, if they just want to see watches and find something they like or discover new stuff or compare and contrast or don't have a specific thing in mind and just kind of want to go shop, why would you not want a multi-brand boutique where you can see it all in one roof rather than saying, well, this is great from one and then have to go walk around to 15 other stores?
So are the brands capable of unwinding this horror show that they seem to be creating? I think the Breitling number is going to be reflective in general of what's happening, of the damage that monobrand boutiques are causing to the brands. I think, there's a Panerai and IWC monobrand boutique opened in Edinburgh on the main thoroughfare in Edinburgh. Now it's the same shop with 2 doors. You go in one door for Panerai, one door for IWC. How on earth can a place like Edinburgh support a Panerai boutique? It just seems madness that in the country, in Scotland's most expensive retail space, there's going to be a Panerai monobrand boutique and an IWC monobrand boutique. So you're going to need 4 people 6, 8 people on staff at the very least in order to keep that staffed 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or whatever, and all the other gubbins that goes with that. It's just mad. Can they unwind this without completely losing face? Will a multi-brand who probably fell out with the brand itself when they decided to withdraw their services and their supply from the multi-brand family boutique that's been going for years, is there power now with them to say, actually, you know what, Panerai, we don't want you back, but we're not interested because this is how you treat us? Do you think anyone's brave enough to just say to these guys, forget it, we're not taking you back because of how you treated us when you left?
Some of them, yes, but here's the problem. When these brands like Panerai make it a strategic determination to be in retailers, they'll use money, they'll hire charming people, they'll do what they can to get those retailers to forget and promise that the next time will be different. So it's not like an optional thing for them. It's if they have a corporate mandate, they'll do it at some cost. Does that mean they're necessarily going to abide by the rules that they set for themselves? No, but you know, they'll have enough to pay to convince retailers to try it again. So effectively, they're like the retailers. They change to every generation. They'll find someone new to try it until they mess it up again.
Okay, right. Let's have a look at this Ripley. You reviewed the Urwerk UR230 Black Star, completing the trilogy of UR230 watches. Tell us a little bit about this.
Nice.
So this is the third and final UR230. This one is known as the Black Star. The first one had that lid on it. I don't know if you remember, a few years ago. Had similar colorway, black, yellow, very classic Urwerk. It had a layered carbon case, and it had this weird little lid thing that covered the upper half of the display. So you really only got the hours and minutes on the bottom. That's all fine and well. It was a cool watch, different case. It's sort of the evolution of the 200 platform they have. And then I believe 2024, they released the follow-up version, which was the Polaris. It was all white. I reviewed that one. We saw it in Geneva. It got rid of the lid. It used this white material for the case, which it's a composite that uses ceramic and fiberglass, all kind of woven in it. So it's white, but it doesn't look like milky white ceramic. It's more of like a sparkly white-ish type of thing. And it had Stormtrooper vibes. It was really cool. It was a tangibly different watch than the first one, the quote-unquote Eagle with the lid. Now, this is the third and final, and I was kind of hoping that Urwerk would sort of stretch the envelope here and make a third one that was distinct from the other two. But this is really more one that sort of brings the other two together. It uses a case silhouette that's more similar to the Polaris without the lid. The material on it, though, it's similar to the white material, but it's a black version, and it has carbon also in its structure. So it has this interesting sort of patterny effect to it. As far as the mechanism, it's the same thing. This is a cool one. Obviously, you have the satellite. Yeah, you got the retrograde minutes, but then you can also augment how the automatic winding works. A switch on the upper left-hand side will turn it on and off, so you can disengage the rotor completely. And then the other one, it's an interesting mechanism. It uses these two turbines, and as you turn the knob, it changes the aperture of the air that can go through those turbines, and it works like an air brake to prevent the rotor from swinging too powerfully. Lots of lume, kind of similar to the first one in that regard, but it's an interesting watch. There's really not a lot of these, similar to the other ones, just like the other ones, really. It's a limited edition of, I think, 35 pieces or something like that.
Yep, 35.
Yeah, and it's quite expensive. It's priced the same as well. But this is a cool one to round out the trio. I like the 230 case. It's not for the small-wristed, but it's kind of everything you want from Urwerk. Looks like a spaceship, crazy display, esoteric mechanism that is going to take 5 minutes to explain to someone. Yeah, it's everything you want.
And $200,000. What do we think of this, David?
I mean, it's cool. I'm just browsing Chrono24 for different Urwerks just to check the market. And, all you need to spend is between 40 and 50K, so a quarter of this watch, and you can get all the Urwerk you want. You can get
all the
full titanium bracelet. You can get my personal favorite, the UR105 streamliner with the lid that opens up, which is just unbelievably amazing. I had that in for review a couple of years ago. Why would I just don't get it how they can still sell these things for 200K. Like, who's sitting around on their hands and thinking like, oh, well, I have to get an Urwerk, but I hope they make a new one that looks like everything that they made 10 years over the last 10 years, right? And maybe I have the privilege of paying 200K for it. So I freaking love Urwerk. It's amazing as it has ever been. I just think it would be fun to maybe for the guys to step back and just hand over the keys to the brand for like 2 years to somebody totally crazy and just tell them, okay, here you go crazy with our brand. We trust you and let's take it to another level. Because it's, I totally understand that the effort that it must have taken them to get to these inventions and these designs is so tremendous that you cannot keep this momentum up as a person. You know, it's impossible to always one up yourself. And it would be unkind to say that they are milking it, because they're not. I mean, still the effort is absolutely there. It's just that the market at this point is getting sort of saturated with amazing Urwerks at relatively, solid prices. So yeah, just hand over the keys to someone and have them go crazy with the brand. Well, that would be amazing to see.
We did report last week that Benny, formerly of AP, was now available. Do we think
No. Someone
would be a trusted hand to take over Urwerk?
And David said completely crazy. That isn't quite what he meant.
Well, that's kind of where
someone
I went.
without a leather jacket. That's where I draw the line.
You draw the line. So
no shiny leather jacket.
No shiny leather jackets. That's quite good. That's quite a good strategy for assessing people. Do they come with a shiny leather jacket? Yes. Reject from your friendship group. No. Accept into your friendship group.
I can offer an alternative perspective.
Go on.
It's not meant to change David's opinion. He obviously wants to see something fresh, but I think that companies like Urwerk, especially this mature independents, have realized something, and that is they have to make a certain amount of like familiar watches. They're just a variation of what they used to do between when they can make something truly weird. Because I think what happens is they make something truly weird, and then like it's so weird that only people like David, but those that can afford it, buy it, which isn't enough. So what they have to do, and I think that probably people at MB&F probably know this a little bit more because they've done this 2 more times, is again, use some type of formula. It's like this, now we make like a familiar watch, which is like 5% different than something else. Oh, and now we make something which is 75% different. Okay, now we have to make a few that are like no more than 10% different. And so I think that there's sort of a range that they can go in so they can mix making weird things. Because, I think the thing where I disagree with David is that, Martin at Urwerk, the designer, lacks ideas. He definitely does not lack fresh ideas. But as we know, these things are enormously expensive to do. They self-fund. They don't do pre-orders. There's conservatives, maybe they have to be. So maybe you can accuse them of being cheap and not taking enough risks. But I think the reality is he wants to do more stuff. But it's, again, they're also trying to run. These are people that like safety. They're in Geneva. They're not going to like bet the entire company on every watch release, even if, we want them to.
And when I first saw this one, I was a little disappointed. I'm like, oh, lame. It's not that much of a departure. But I can also imagine that after the first 2 iterations of the UR230, this is pretty much the watch they were being asked to make. Hey, we like the traditional color palette of the original Eagle variant, but the lid, let's be real, the lid, it's cool, it's really cool, it's unique, but it's also a bit polarizing. I could see a lot of people wanting the classic Urwerk color palette, but in the lid-free Polaris-style case. So I can only imagine that since the first one launched, and then when the second one appeared, for the last like year and a half or so or whatever, they've been getting requests for basically
we all think it's cool. None of us would say no to this thing. Rick, I don't know. He's a little bit weird with taste sometimes.
No, I like this. I like this.
Oh, it passes muster.
Yeah, this passes muster. Well, see, I like watches that tell the time in unusual ways or novel ways. So I've got, what's the brand? Former AP guy, Gorilla. So I've got one of the original Gorilla watches that has the satellite wheel similar to Urwerk. So I guess the question is, do Urwerk need to do and MB&F. There's been a couple of other brands recently that have produced their own like baby brand that they sell lots of them. They just have a smattering of the DNA of the original. But it's a money pit in terms of just getting the cash in to support the business, like MB&F or even Moonswatch. What they've done, do Urwerk need to find something that is the distillation of what is considered Urwerk? And you very much could say that Gorilla, like if Urwerk had come up with the Gorilla brand selling satellite stuff at $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and then the Moon shop things like this at 200 grand or whatever they are, you could have got that. Is it too late? Is this something we need to see more high-end brands doing? Is this something they are going to see them doing in the next year?
So here's what I think. I think you're going to see it, but it's not going to be done by Urwerk. I think less expensive brands are going to eventually convince Urwerk to do collaborations with them. So Urwerk just does the design part and maybe some little thing. It doesn't really affect the Urwerk watches. And that's how it will be. I don't see Urwerk having the internal culture and mentality to create a sub-brand and try to pull all the strings and all the marketing stuff that Max Booster and his team is able to do with the Mad Editions. I just see the culture is different. But yes, I think that sooner than later, you're going to see less expensive collaborations with Martin and Felix. And it may or may not have the Urwerk name. And remember, they did, they've played around before. Let's say they're not strangers to this.
Okay. So that is the latest from Urwerk. Now, to get a bit political for the moment, we have some new rules. I'm not sure whether this is official yet or not, but the US could ask foreign tourists for 5 years social media history before entry. I don't know if this has actually broken the news in the States.
Passport control isn't slow enough. That is exactly what we need.
So I want to ask the question, what in your social media history would lead you to being banned from going into Switzerland? Which watch opinion...
To Switzerland?
Which watch opinion would get you, no, we're not letting you back in here? We've discovered on social media that you said bad things about a Rolex or something of that. I mean, maybe there's stuff on your Instagram account that would get you back. I mean, there's probably stuff on my Instagram account that would get me banned from going to the USA in terms of opinions that may have been voiced, even on this very podcast, about this particular gentleman. But the question is, which watch opinions do you hold that would get you banned from Switzerland? You're most offensive to the Swiss watch zeitgeist that might get you stopped at passport control. Obviously, I get stopped at passport control now because we left the European Union, so I have to join all the Americans. Whereas David probably just avoids all checking because he just wafts through as if on a diplomatic passport off to the events while us Luddites are queuing forever at the world's slowest passport control in Geneva. If anyone out there, by the way, can source me a diplomatic passport, I'm willing to pay good money to be the official representative of Micronesia or somewhere that allows me to use the blooming diplomatic lane at Geneva Airport. So if somebody out there can organise that, I'd happily be the representative.
The problem with that is that you're asking for it live on air, so anyone with half a brain will not trust you.
Officially has to say that the opinions and statements made on the show may not actually reflect the opinions of the organization.
I didn't offer. No, I don't think I offered anything illegitimate. You can.
You just offered to buy something illegal, so that's.
Well, I don't think it's illegal to buy. I think it would be like
only legal.
It would be
if you work for an auction house, there are some financial gymnastics happening over there that I'm not really sure how.
I think I can say that I would.
Please do not bribe this man.
I would invest in a small despot country if necessary. If buying a house over there was a requirement of getting a diplomatic passport, I think that's how it works in the European Union. You go. You want to be a diplomat
to what country exactly?
No, anyone that will take me. I imagine it's a pretty short list. That really
could you be a diplomat of your own country? Could you buy that?
Can we buy a country? How much?
No, your own of Scotland.
The Scottish government don't. There's people in the Scottish government. Some of them don't like me very much for reasons that we'll definitely not go into in this show.
So they don't want you representing their national interest.
No, they wouldn't want me representing them.
So what country aligns best with your interests?
I don't know. A sunny one. My interest is purely sunshine.
Sunshine.
So somewhere South Pacific would be fine. I don't think there's too many despot regimes in the South Pacific, are there? Not that I'm aware of. Is New Zealand, is it viewed to be a criminal hub?
Not especially.
Yeah, there we go. So which watch opinion is going to get you banned from Switzerland? Which the man at the best dressed passport control officers in the world in Switzerland wearing their day dates are going to go, sorry, you've showed us your social media. We don't think we're letting you in. I'm not sure what mine would be. I think it would probably, maybe it would be a Panerai related thing. Maybe it would just be that I have too many Panerai photos on my Instagram account. They go, sir, we fear you may be hiding something that may cause danger to the rest of our population.
What might you be hiding inside of your Panerais?
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe something with a half hunter case that shows that you might be using.
I have a question. If I consume a ton of fondue in Geneva, and so 56% of me by weight is Swiss, does that mean that I'm Swiss and I now qualify for Swiss citizenship? I'm Swiss made per their legislature. I'm Swiss made at this point.
I think that's an interesting vibe. By weight, yep. Would it have to be Swiss cheese specifically you ate? Would you have to be in the country, eat the cheese, leave the country, and then re-immigrate?
It has to come from a Swiss cow. That's right.
Do we need Jean-Claude involved in this? Does he still make cheese?
Of course. Once you start making cheese, you never stop.
You can't get out of the game.
The cheese is making itself. You just work it in the cellar or whatever, and then it's just like it's becoming cheesier and cheesier. That's all it is.
The cheese.
I like how we have totally lost the plot by the end of the year, though. I mean, we are totally and utterly unable this week to talk about a watch for more than maybe 2 minutes.
We've been targeting this for some time now. It's been an inevitable downfall of this show.
Do we stop
200 episodes
publishing about watches to talk about? I mean,
I think it's just. I'll be honest. I think it's been a pretty poor end to the year. Other than the one brand that's produced a watch that I really want to talk about but can't because it's under embargo for what they've done to something that I can't talk about. Which I'd love to talk about. And then your Jay Leno interview is great, but I feel that the general content of what watch brands are producing towards the end of the year does give the impression that most of Europe is already on holiday. And this is generally the trap at this time of year.
We choose this time to write about some watches we may have not before, but there's actually, look, the Urwerk, that was a new release.
Urwerk was a new release?
I talk about the Ingenieurs because they were new for this year. And I
am genuinely going to go on to the Raymond Weil and the second look at the IWC Ingenieur.
Myself and 5 other people like the David Candaux.
And the David Candaux, so that I can pronounce his name properly for once.
Sean designed a watch with Schaefer and companions. And companions, that sounds kinky.
So which watch opinion is most likely to get you excluded from Switzerland? David, you like a rant. You must have had a rant that you think is probably going to get you banned from the country.
A year closing rant.
It's which one passport control are going to look at you and go, no, I'm sorry, you can't have that opinion and be allowed into Switzerland, into the home of luxury watchmaking.
I could see Thierry Stern, just using his connections to ban me from entering the country.
So opinions on the Cubitus could have resulted, or specifically on the Cubitus, or upon Thierry Stern's attitude to people who had opinions about the Cubitus.
I think the attitude article. Yeah, that's
the
probably
article. So the attitude article gets
reason.
You banned. Ariel,
I would understand. I would be like, okay, that's fair play.
It would lead to a great follow-up article, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just go and spend
it would have more expertise in it. But actually, I would be thankful. Like, okay, I guess I can do with never, ever going to Geneva again, ever.
Yes, we have forgotten the thing that actually maybe being banned from Switzerland might be a good thing.
Yeah, it's not all of Switzerland, but if I never had to go to downtown Geneva again, I would be perfectly happy with that.
Okay. Just spend your time in Glashütte instead. Ariel, article you've written that's most likely to get you banned from Switzerland?
I do wake up sometimes thinking, am I in Basel? Am I still in Basel? Article I went from social media post to something I said to now article I've written. I mean, it's in the thousands.
So there must be one in there. There must be one article there that you're afraid someone's going to dig up.
Many thousands. I mean, I have definitely questioned the value proposition of the fine craftsmanship of items made in the holy country of Switzerland.
So is it opinions over the Geneva stripe and that are going to get you into trouble?
I was complaining about the signature decoration of the Canton of Geneva and the qualities of one chronometer certification over another region's chronometer certification.
That sounds like the sort of thing that would get you kicked out of Switzerland, to be fair.
That people get into punching matches. No, my observatory is better than your observatory. It's very serious business. Forget the fact that they're all adjusting their watches several times a week. That doesn't matter.
And they've all got G-Shocks back home. Hey,
but yeah, I'm controversial amongst a very select niche of interest groups.
Okay, and Ripley article you think might, or social media post might get you banned?
I don't know. I don't know if there's any article itself that stands out.
I'm Japanese.
Sure, I'm sure plenty of Swiss brands don't appreciate the appreciation for the affordable side of the spectrum. But I don't know. I don't think I'm banned. I'm banned
you good
for anything.
value-loving bastard.
Yeah, I don't think I'm banned for anything I've said. It's just how I've said it. My pronunciation of some of these brands' names or the people who work there, the technologies, that's oh my God, it's probably terrible. So yeah, I get up to the customs and they say, what is your business here? I say, I have a meeting with insert brand here. And he looks at me and goes, no, you don't know that accent. I'm sorry, the return flight to Texas is that way, sir.
That sounds like the sort of thing someone would do, ban you for mispronouncing their brand.
I am an influencer.
Yes, and on that note, let's go to David Candaux, not Candillo. For years, I've been inserting an I in there for some reason, not quite sure why. So David Candaux, DC1 and DC6 titanium watches, avant-garde haute horology. Ariel, you like these, but I feel that this also falls into the realm of they have windows in them which are rather small, which is something that you have taken offense at recently. Why do these get away with it? Why does that? I assume it's a power reserve at the top.
Yeah.
Why does this get away with it in the way that some other more recent productions do not?
Well, I think sometimes you can forgive little things for overall concept. It's not illegible. And it's not like you can't see the dials. It's curved and it's got all kinds of stuff going on and things aren't necessarily what you expect them to be. But it's overall very well done. These are comfortable. I don't think I've ever liked this watch from just the shots. If I hadn't worn this watch, played with it, I wouldn't have necessarily liked it as much as I do. This is a very much in-person watch. Great example is the exposed titanium that has the Guilloché engraving. Like, it maybe looks cool until you realize, like, oh, I can touch this. I can feel the texture. Oh, most other watches where you see the decorations on a dial, you don't get to touch it. Classically, of course, you could touch it. But it's like little weird things like this. The tourbillon with the inclined balance wheel. The weird magic crown. The elements of the female form, which you can laugh that this watch manifests. The nice finishing. The fact that David Candaux is like a multi-generational watchmaker. This is a high passion watch, and you can feel it by looking at it, wearing it, and operating it.
I'm curious. So the crown pops out for those that are familiar with the kind of Omega did it with one of their really light watches. I think Christopher Ward did it. Never has David Candaux been compared to Christopher Ward, but can you declutch this? Because I feel like this would be the sort of fidget spinner that you could pop out, play with, if you could somehow declutch it from the mechanism? Or is there an overwind spring that I can't overwind it? So I
it
can
has
just
a few different. I think you might be able to twist it. Yeah, I think you could.
I can keep twisting it and without fear of blowing up the back of the watch.
Or you don't need to twist. You can just kind of press it and watch it pop in and out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that might be good. So I can twist it, I can push it, and I can bop it. Is what we're saying.
You can play with his watch.
Yeah. I just need the sound effect from the game in order to get the full benefit of this watch. David Candaux or Candaux?
Well, this is an odd picture, particularly. This is like a particularly odd angle.
Yeah, the odd angle 1 and upside down odd angle 2. Yeah, this feels like.
That's why I love these things.
This feels like the sort of thing that has Donald Trump's signature at the bottom of it. I'm just saying.
There's so many weird expressions this watch is trying to make. Different ways of looking at it.
Yeah,
I'm so confused.
I'm not in a good way.
I mean, I guess it's good for practice or something, but otherwise, it's just like it's just why, just how it's just really interesting. This is why I like the world of watches, because there's so many permutations. Thousands, if not tens of thousands of permutations on where you put a crown or how you design the display, that, it was bound to happen that 1 in 100,000 permutations will have all these funny connotations to it, like this one. And it's actually like a great looking watch. And I like the Guilloché you can touch, and I like the display that you can actually read. It is just, it's just a bunch of cool executions on it, but it's very, very difficult not to have these associations in my mind. So I guess I will leave it there. But thank you, Ariel, for all these very, very, very amazing depictions on.
You're welcome.
Its, strong points. Yeah. Can we label this not safe for work? I guess we can do that.
Whose work?
For $235,000, it's a Velcro strap. Is that right?
If you want an additional better strap, I am sure they will give you any horse material you like. Whatever material you want, as long as it's made out of something on your farm.
Horse, you say?
Yes.
Horse, tartan, tractor, whatever you're vibing with today, right?
I do like this. But there you go, for $200,000 or whatever it's going to be in titanium. Plus a horse. Or plus a horse with a bit missing out the backside of it. But there we go. Cool. Right. And then to move us along, a second look, the IWC Ingenieur Automatic 42 black ceramic and 42 black ceramic and 40 18K gold watches. Here's my question about the Ingenieur. It felt like there was a moment where the Ingenieur was going to be IWC's kind of comeback into regular association with buying a sports watch. You'd buy an AP, buy a Royal Oak, you'd buy a Submariner. And it felt like IWC were going to get back in that conversation. And now it feels like they very much have not got back in that conversation. I don't hear anybody speaking about the Ingenieur. I've not seen anybody wearing an Ingenieur. The only comments I've heard about it is folk going, blimey, that's expensive for an IWC three-hand sports watch. Have they missed the boat? Is it just bad timing? They had a long, long time thinking about bringing this watch back during key popularity stakes of integrated steel sports watches. Did they just miss the boat, or is this just my view of what this feels like in the UK market? Maybe it's really, really popular in the States.
I think this watch is a slow burn. It was never going to be the thing which was an immediate hit. It just slowly gets popular. I know that it's getting more popular.
Okay.
I know that they haven't actually shipped that many. I know that other versions, like older versions of Ingenieur, are becoming more valuable because this one's hard to get and people care about Ingenieur again. So, we always remind people that these watches originally took years and years and years to get popular. And then we're like, oh, it's not sold out day 2. So I think we need to give these things more time.
Okay.
This is a watch that I think you need to wear. You need to sort of discover. It doesn't immediately hit you as this is amazing. It really is kind of a slow burn.
The gold, I mean, they are lovely watches. The solid gold one is a lovely, lovely watch. Ripley, David, experiences of the Ingenieurs, or the reimagining of the Ingenieurs since it was launched a couple of years ago?
I quite like them, but I do see them out and about a bit here in LA.
Okay.
Not a ton of them, not compared to like Royal Oaks or Rolex or something like that, but you do see them out and about. And as Ariel mentioned, was never like the hype watch. It had a bit of a moment upon its revival, but this wasn't like a flash in the pan for IWC to bring it back. This is going to be something that continues to sort of play a role in its catalog. They clearly put a lot of time and effort into the revamping of it. So I don't think this is going to be the moon swatch. Everyone cared about it for about a year and then moved on. I think this is going to be one of those things where everyone really cared about it for a year, but they're not going to move on. It's just, you're just going to see more and more of them. This is it's very different than what you get from IWC. So I think it'll be a bit of a slow burn, but I see them. I see them. I see more of them now than I did when it first came out, and that's probably just somewhat due to the more it being in existence. But you also figure that if people are still wearing them and it's not like the hype newest watch, well, they must be they like them. They haven't sold them,
I mean, it's not really front and center on IWC's website for those watching on YouTube. It's not really front and center in their presentation on the website. It's all still perpetual calendars, etc. And there is quite a range of these things now. Like, they really have gone to town on all the different colours and variations of materials, etc., and some complications built within them. So yeah, maybe it is a slow burn. I do like them. They just do feel quite expensive. 10 grand for a three-hand Ingenieur.
Yeah, I just had the black ceramic version in for review at the same time when Ariel did the follow-up. So my article is not happening, but I did have this one. And that's like 20-something thousand, 21,500 or something like that. But this is the big IWC movement. So the 82 series movement, not the 32 series movement. So this is not that movement that we've seen in other watches from Baume & Mercier and Cartier and others, but this is like a very specific IWC movement, and it was beautifully done in terms of like dial, the case, all the rest of it. It was a badass looking watch. My only issue with it though was that the links around the clasp, but the side of the outer links were so sharp. I was just I was shocked to feel that the outer edges were. If you look at the steel one, for example, you can even see the veneer or the little like rounded edge with the polished edge on the metal. So it's going to be a little bit softer to the touch. But on the ceramic one, look at that. Look at how beveled those links are, and
the metal is pretty soft.
On the ceramic. Yeah, and but still, I'm sure they could do it if they wanted to. But on the inside, so it wasn't on the outside, but it was where it touches, it goes against your wrist, is where it was sharp, and so was the clasp. So I hope that they can work on that because it was I could just feel it at all times, and I genuinely believe that no luxury watches should have a sharp edge on it anywhere where you can feel it. It can have it on the top of the case or wherever, but when you run your fingers around it and when you're wearing it, there should be no sharp edges anywhere.
Vote for David.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be the opinion that gets him banned from Switzerland. No sharp edges. Ripley. Strong emotions about this?
No, I like them. I like them. I think they're good watches. They are expensive for what they are, but they're also very well done. And if you look at them within the context of IWC's catalog, the brand itself is expensive. They've never been really cheap. It does seem a bit dear, especially when you start getting into the more premium versions. Like David mentioned, the premium attached to the ceramic one's quite strong. But I like these watches. I've liked pretty much every single one I've seen for different reasons, but I'd happily take one if one was given to me. I'm not spending this amount of money on any watch right now, but whether it's the gold one, the ceramic one, the titanium one, they're all really nice. I think they did a good job on it, so I'm happy with them.
How is IWC's titanium in comparison to, say, the Rolex's titanium and...
everyone's is titanium sexier than Rolex's titanium. But
Rolex is the worst.
So IWC's finishing. I've not seen the titanium one. So IWC's finishing on the titanium is fine in comparison. It's acceptable.
But it's not that impressive anymore to finish titanium well, which is why we're so surprised about Rolex.
Yeah, like even RZE, that little Resolute 36 they have a high polished rim on the bezel, which they can do because it's, even though it's grade 2, they coat it. You know, the technology for finishing titanium's gotten up there, but you know, the IWC doesn't disappoint.
Okay, cool. Right, finally for this week, Raymond Weil. Okay, there's a lot of words here. Raymond Weil Millesime? Tri-Compax chronograph hands-on, a surprisingly unboring vintage style sports watch. A surprisingly unboring Ariel. Discuss.
Well, usually they're boring, so surprised that it was not boring.
It has, I think it has, is it Centigraph vibes? FP Journe.
Yeah, that's the whole color scheme. You can get this watch in boring if you want. I'm just saying.
You can also
that flavor.
buy the boring version of this. I think this looks pretty cool. I think this looks pretty cool indeed. How much is it, Raymond Weil? I would expect it to be fairly budget friendly in the world of luxury watches.
That's $2,000 different today than it was 2 years ago.
Well, that's $2,000 different today than it was this time last year. Oh, 4,175 USD.
Okay, let's be honest. $4,500 is the new $1,500. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's frightening, isn't it? Frightening.
It really is.
But this is a lovely watch.
I just like where. Look, I think if you're going to buy a watch, that could be universal. You're not going to get sick of it. You could sort of pick it up a lot. This makes sense.
But $4,000, does anything make sense?
But what else? I mean, look, it's this or Favre Luba. Just pick your vintage style.
Your vintage style. Yeah, I think I'll choose no vintage.
What are your other options?
G-Shock. Just
a G-Shock?
Just stick with the watch you've got. That would be my watch opinion that gets me banned. You do not need more than one watch. That's it. That's the hell I'm dying on. You just need. Don't buy any more watches. Stop buying watches.
The opinions on the show do not necessarily represent that in the organization.
To all our advertisers, stop buying watches. Stop selling them. This is just getting out of hand. This is lovely. I'm just not sure.
Don't buy it.
For me, stingy Scotsman, it's not $4,000 worth of lovely.
How much is a Panerai chronograph?
I mean, I don't own a Panerai chronograph. I own one decent watch.
And how much are those, like 3 hands on it?
There are 2 hands
More
on it.
Than
No,
this.
there are 3 hands on it. No, actually, there's 4 hands on it, depending on how you count them. Because it's got a running seconds and a AM/PM indicator, just in case you can't tell.
Couldn't even get that GMT, huh?
No, it's got a GMT. Actually, it's got 5. We've got 5. It's got a GMT hand. It's just it's hidden. I forgot.
How did you miss 3 hands? From the start, you're just like, wait a minute.
Because I've taken my glasses off the top. I'll put my glasses back on. Everything.
I'm starting to think you have more than one Panerai. You didn't know which one you were wearing.
Rats caught. Yes, caught out. I just move them around quickly enough, and it makes it look like it's the one watch.
They all look the same, anyways.
They all look the same, right? Raymond Weil. They're, as a brand, they feel like they're going places at the moment. They feel like they're in a wee pocket of.
Well, they were,
Swiss-ness.
And now we're not so sure.
Now we're not so sure, right? Okay.
They were. The Millesime was great. The chronograph, some of the chronographs are good, but we'll see. Look, I like the Takata, but the Takata's not going to, not going to send them flying like the Millesime is.
Okay. So what do you do with a brand like Raymond Weil if you actually want them? For Christmas, we'll give them a Christmas present. Some free what to do next to encourage the people who are shopping in the $4,000 market, which frankly is most of us, to make it more desirable and to make it the go-to brand in that price point. What would they need to do, Ariel?
Very simple. I think they need to look at some of the successes we've seen. It's been intermittent, but everyone from sort of Christopher Ward to Oris, who's been competing in these price points, has shown that the way you make a mark for yourself is not necessarily just by product. Anyone can do nice product, but through community. Throw some events, show that you're integrating with the public, show that you want to see people they need to have the Bernheims out a little bit more. They need to show what the Raymond Weil lifestyle is. They can't just be like the brand you bought at the mall to go to your nice event with. They have to show you what the nice events and lifestyle are. So they have to build enough of the lifestyle and recognize that while these might, be a low priced thing to someone buying Omegas, these are like a step up for someone who just bought like a $1,000 indie brand watch. And they see Raymond Weil as like, oh, that's like a mature Swiss brand. Like I want to aspire to like be part of that world. So I think that that's what they could do, is they could attract the people, sort of who was previously buying an indie brand watch to like, oh, this is a proper Geneva brand. And technically they are.
Yeah. I mean, the likes of Christopher Ward are coming for watch brands that sell at this price point. Are they the most successful other than Rolex current brand, probably in terms of market growth and getting out there-ness and the events and the presence of the people behind the scenes with members of the general public? Probably. And their price point is slowly stepping up inch by inch more.
You're trying to suggest that Christopher Ward is the next most successful brand of Rolex?
I would, in terms of how they've experienced the last year, I mean, not an overall revenue, but they're probably going to be right up there in terms of profitability in the percentage terms. I'd be interested to look at the books in terms of that
would be really, because usually companies that are making money spend more, and they're notoriously bad for spending. So how does it look? If you want to look like you're making a huge amount, but you're not spending an amount, that means you have a lot of debt investors. That's what that says to me. You're not actually doing amazingly. You've got a bunch of people that expect all your profits.
No, I think I'm not sure that's the case in terms of Christopher Ward. I think it's probably a slightly different motivation because of the people who are involved with it currently and how they got involved with it. They'd already made their millions elsewhere. It's not a vanity project in that they're not vain people, but it's not we have to drive profit out of this for shareholders. But it turns out they are. We'll see what the results.
They keep talking about their numbers. They keep announcing their market gains. If they were just sort of like a humble, quiet brand that's just having fun, they wouldn't do any of that. They don't have shareholders. They don't have to announce these things. So the fact that they're announcing their performance, they're announcing it to someone. Who are they talking to?
Right, okay. Well, me apparently, but so other than Raymond, it's a good point you make about Raymond Weil though, in terms of they need to get the people involved in the brand more front and center, the events, the engagement with the community. Is there a brand right now, because I feel the likes of Oris and that have fallen off of that wagon, if you like. Is there a brand that someone of the scale of Raymond Weil at the price point that should be looking to, in your opinion, as to who's currently doing it the best? Which brand at this level is engaging the community the best at the moment? David, Ripley, Ariel, particular experiences with brands?
I actually don't know. I'm not really part of that community. I don't spend a huge amount of time as a voyeur on social media to see what goes on. I'm not the perfect person to ask. From my perspective, I couldn't tell you who's doing well. It's a quiet period right now. As I said, brands are leaning into retail infrastructure. They go to their events. That's where a lot of these brands go to. But in terms of doing it themselves, small brands, I don't know. Maybe someone else can tell me.
David, the brand that sprung to mind for me was Nevada Grenchen at the moment, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's just the algorithm speaking to me.
I'm not on Instagram anymore, so I have no idea. And to be honest, I don't care at all. Media. And neither should you. Nobody gives a hoot who's trending. Doesn't matter. Buy what you like.
Who's trending? David refuses to be trendy. Ariel, come on, we'll be the trendsetters, Ripley, me and you.
I don't know. I mean, it's not so much trending, who's trending, but just I think Ariel hit the nail on the head. Just a general increase in marketing. People know the name, but they haven't had any modern reference to it. But there's a lot to talk about. The watches that Raymond Weil's been releasing recently have been stronger than in past years, certainly. They have a cool catalog. They have stuff to talk about. They're, a respected Swiss brand, independent, all that good stuff. It's just to remind people that all of the good things about them and get themselves in front of people and start forming that relationship with the collecting and enthusiast community. They don't really do any of that. They're just kind of this brand you see and know, but there's nothing really going on, or that nothing really about it that, as Ariel mentioned, sort of like, what does the Raymond Weil lifestyle look like? I have no idea. They like music and stuff, but they don't really do enough to tell us about it.
What's that TV show? Everybody Loves Raymond? Was that?
Yeah, but that's Ray Romano.
Surely they need him as their brand ambassador. There's an obvious. You can just get him. Everybody Loves Raymond. There we go. I've solved your marketing problem for you.
Problem solved.
Just need to
Moving
find
on.
a famous Raymond.
That'll fix it all. Yeah,
That'll fix it all. Right, good. Okay. Well, it's kind of, we need to decide what we're doing for a Christmas edition. So
Christmas carols.
You want to sing? Is that the? I was thinking we could
have to sing.
Well, if you're doing Christmas carols, we need to sing, unless you're wanting to relate them. Should we do Christmas carol? Which watch is a Christmas carol? You want to select a Christmas carol, or we'll choose an appropriate
I'm sure
watch?
Jacob & Co. makes one of those music box ones. I'll sing a Christmas carol.
So for next week, the watch you like is Christmas carols. I
don't know what a Christmas carol sounds like because I've never done one. So you're really putting me into dark waters here.
Okay, well, excellent. We like to put you somewhere where you're uncomfortable. David, there must be some funky Hungarian Christmas carols that we can find an appropriate watch to wear.
The culture that just keeps on giving, huh, David?
Who thought the Hungarian culture was going to become the foundation stone?
Some additional weird thing you haven't talked about yet.
Oh my God. No, I don't think there is any. I wish there was.
That. There's going to be some legendary Hungarian version of Santa Claus that somebody sings about at Christmas time. Ripley, favorite Christmas carol?
It's all very mild. It's just surprisingly mild now that you point it out.
At Christmas. Ripley, favourite Christmas carol, or we need a Christmas themed watch you like for next week. So pick something Christmassy. It doesn't have to be a Christmas carol. Favourite Christmas gift, favourite Christmas item, favourite Christmas food. Is there a traditional food? There we go. Is there traditional food that the seller's household has on their table that nobody else has? And what watch is that like?
Well, it's not at all traditional. So we're in Southern California. So despite my mom's side of the family being Japanese, we're basically Mexican. And so we make tamales every year.
Tamales. Okay. Yeah. I'm not quite sure I know what that is. I'm assuming it has a tomato content.
What? No. What? No. You've never heard of a tamale?
I've heard of it, but I couldn't tell you.
It's mostly corn.
It's like corn masa. You stuff it, you steam it.
No. How can you call
God.
something tamales and it not involve tomatoes? That just seems weird.
A fair point, sir.
Okay, so tamales is on the seller's Christmas table. Ariel, what is on the Christmas table? You've got some Ukrainian heritage there.
We're talking the best Chinese takeout you can find that isn't too busy.
Excellent. Chinese takeaway. We'll do that for Christmas. So which watch is most like a Chinese takeaway? Grand. Okay, come on, David. Give us something that's going to appear on the Hungarian Christmas table that we can research.
A big bottle of Coca-Cola, I guess, just because it's just wired into our system. It's true, though. I mean, people do like to reach for the good old Coca-Cola when it comes to freaking Christmas, which is odd because, it's just a thing. That and arguments about politics, probably. You could do like a proper bingo there.
Proper bingo. Okay. Okay. Well, so Coca-Cola is the most generic Christmas thing you can think of. The weird thing that will be in our Christmas table, that's always on our Christmas table, is Melba toast. Are you familiar with Melba toast?
It's like a cracker, right?
Well, it's toasted bread, but your average slice of toast or slice of bread is cut in half through the middle, so it's extra thin. So for some reason, we always have Melba toast at Christmas. So we're looking for the most flimsy, would break type watch as a result of Melba toast.
You putting in dip? Is that why you're doing it?
No, I just butter it normally. Have it with soup.
I think maybe you're using it wrong.
Is it?
I'm using it wrong.
You put anything on it, or is it just like thin toast?
No, it's just very thin toast. It curls up. It becomes really crunchy. It's very nice.
There should be this whole ad where there's like the Melba toast people, like they storm your house for Christmas. Like, emergency, you're using our product wrong. Let's show you how to celebrate with Melba toast the right way.
The Butterball hotline for Melba toast.
Butter on Melba toast. And they freak out.
Okay, so that could be our watch you like. That would be a Christmas edition watch like, because I refuse to do a review of the year show unless people really want it, but I don't.
Yes, let's talk about watches, please.
Let's talk about watches. That's boring.
We could use the randomizer. Talk about random ones.
All right, we'll do watch you like for those, and we will do how many days it'll be. Well, we could have done a Christmas calendar, like 24 random watches from the history, and we'll open each door and see what's behind it. So we will try and set that for next week. And you're going to have to speak for 30 seconds without hesitation, deviation, or repetition on a watch you may not have seen for 15 years. I'll just show you the picture. It'll be like a traditional advent calendar where you just open it up. You don't get a chocolate. You just get a picture of a watch, and you have to tell me what it is. There we go. We'll turn it into a quiz. There we go. I like that idea. Doesn't sound too complicated or convoluted at all. Anyway, right. So have you bought your Christmas presents, and are you buying any watch-related gifts for anyone in your life or yourself to close the show? Any watch purchases coming this way? Anyone you're trying to get into watches by buying them a F91W or something?
Yes, you can get a good discount on anything you want, given the news, right?
Yeah.
Just buy some watches. Now is the time.
Discounts available. Ariel, watch content in the stockings for anybody.
Look, I think the best gift that we got was that the tariffs that were imposed on Swiss Watches America go down to just being annoying size, not what the hell this is going to destroy the economy size. So what other gift could I ask for other than the resumption of strained business?
Donald gives the best gift. There you go. Ripley.
Well, I don't think it was Donald who gave the best gift. I think it was the Rolex who gave the best gift. That was
bar.
Then the clock and no.
I mean, is there anything? So it's just surreal to see. Yeah, I'm not even discussing about it. It's just
there's nothing gold can't fix. You know that.
There's nothing. That's basically it. That's basically the vibe. So, and David, no watch themed Christmas for you, for anybody in your family. You're not buying some annoying
not
swatch
really.
for someone to keep
I mean, I always bring
night.
something that I have in for review, so we can, so I can just. It's always fun to gauge the feedback of non-watch enthusiast people on whatever nonsense I have in for review. So that's fun.
So you have a Christmas Day watch, Ariel. You feel like somebody who might who might put a bit of thought into what they're wearing on Christmas morning.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Do you have a Christmas themed watch that's already? You're thinking that's the watch I'm wearing on Christmas Day? No, there's a lot of thinking going on. No, that surprises me. That surprised me.
Green, red, no.
Green, red. No. Okay, fair enough. Right, well, that is our show for this week. Thank you all very much for joining us. We will discuss exactly what a tamale is next week for those that don't know, because
shocking you don't know what a tamale is.
A tamale is.
Does it make you more happy if we could tell you that we'll get them on a street corner for you?
Yeah, if you want to send them across, that's fine.
Rick, I'm going to send you a video of me making them. Between my wife's family and mine, I've got like 2 days of tamale making.
Tamale making?
Yeah.
And
they're
no
also
tomatoes.
wrapped in something which is not edible.
Oh,
Don't
they're wrapped in corn
part.
husks. You might like corn husks. You're a farmer. Yeah, they're wrapped in corn husks when you put them in. They cook in it.
This seems weird.
You need to know not to eat the corn husk is the point.
Okay, that's fine.
That's not built in on the packaging. It doesn't say that.
Next to tacos and burritos, tamales are like the most famous Mexican dish.
Refried beans or?
No dish, not like a side, like a a main thing.
I don't think people out of areas that serve it know what it is. I've seen that. There's no idea.
No. So on that bombshell, we shall leave you for this week. Tamale for now.
Food exploration.
Bye.
Bye.